This is Screen Junkies Movie Fights, brought to you by Loot Crate. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Hello and welcome to another fantastic edition of Movie Fights. I'm so excited. We have some newbies here. Well, sort of one newbie and one who hasn't been here in a while and one who's here all the time. Welcome, guys. Before we start, I'm going to tease a little bit of what we got going. We have what current star should reboot an 80s movie in honor of The Rock doing Big Trouble in Little China? Best movie made from a TV show, dream superhero director, and many, many, many more stuff. So stay tuned. If you don't like something we're doing, don't leave. Just go to the bottom right-hand corner and click Pick Your Fight on YouTube, and then you can zoom ahead to another fight and see what we got in store for today. So thanks for watching. As always, please go check out our iTunes feed. There's a new one. It's not very new anymore, but it's newish. So please go support us there and click, comment, subscribe. It'll sync up to your phone and all that cool stuff if you do it. And we would love your support so we can stay doing well on iTunes charts. Also, look at what I got on my shirt.
Ooh.
Whoa, that's pretty nifty. It's finally in the store. People have been demanding it. I got the first one off the presses. I'm honored. Ow. But it's the Movie Fight shirt. It's available on our Spreadshirt. I'm sorry, not Spreadshirt. It's not Spreadshirt. District Lines. Sorry, don't go to the other place. Go to District Lines. It's on our districtlines.com/Screen Junkies. You can check out and get our Screen Junkie shirts there. Link is in the description, so don't listen to me. Just click the link. Let's see who's going to fight today, shall we?
Yes. Today's fighters are Michael Barrety, creator of Belated Media, 0 wins, 1 loss. Davis, hair of the Warp Zone, first-time fighter. Hal Rudnick, host of the Screen Junkie Show, 2 wins, 7 losses.
A lot of those losses under review.
Yeah, and that win is actually under review. I'm going to do a call out here specifically. If anybody goes to our Wikipedia page, the Screen Junkies Wikipedia page, my God, I want to know who's doing it, but someone has put together every stat from every episode, every fight, every time I say
It has a count of the number of times you said Spectra instead of Spectre.
It's like very, very amazing that someone's doing that. If you are doing that, please tweet at me and prove it to me somehow, because I want to know who you are and I want to send you a shirt.
I want to know how many times I've said at the height of their powers.
We should start tabulating. But it's very, very detailed, and we are very grateful. But yet no one has done it for Honest Trailers. Can someone help us and make a Wikipedia for Honest Trailers? That would be very nice. Anyway, but your one win is in doubt because your one win was technically a tie, and so Wikipedia charts don't count it. But we've been generous and we're counting it. But you did get one official win on all boards, so congrats. So now you're coming off your win. Hal Rudnick, thanks for coming. You're coming off that win.
You know, Andy, I'm feeling like Little Caesar's Pizza today, hot and ready.
Can you get 2 in a row?
Why not?
Almost a turkey.
Why not?
And worth $5.
Oh yeah, $5. Maybe I'll end the day with bacon crust.
All right, I hope you do it, man. I'm rooting for you. Next to him, we haven't had you back in a while. I'm so glad you are back from Belated Media and What If Star Wars Was Good. It's Michael Barrety.
Hey, hey.
When is episode 3 coming?
Before episode 7.
Have you been asked that a lot?
Oh, yes, like daily.
I can vouch. We've talked to him. He's trying. He's working on it. We're excited. Please get that. We want to see it. We love those videos. If you haven't watched those videos, go watch the What If Star Wars Episode 1 and What If Star Wars Episode 2 were good. They're fantastic, very in-depth things. Good job, Michael.
Thank you.
Next to him, a newbie, a first-time fighter from The Warp Zone at youtube.com/The Warp Zone, right? It is The Warp Zone.
Yeah.
I should know that. But check it out. Amazingly funny sketches. We're so happy to have you. Welcome, Davis.
Thank you. I'm excited and nervous.
I hope you will take these guys out seriously. Take them seriously and fight hard, please.
I will try.
As you all should know, and you, Davis, now as a newbie, where I'm looking at the points, I'm judging based on the arguments, not the best movie. So I need you guys to be passionate, creative, and have fun, but really not only defend your movie, but tell me why their movies are wrong. Everyone makes sense? Everyone follow how this show works?
Yep.
Great. Before we do that, I'd want to thank a special sponsor, Loot Crate. Loot Crate, we love you, Loot Crate. For those of you that don't know, you should know because it's amazing. It's a monthly service, and Dan will be showing off some items from this month's box. If you will see as I'm talking. Loot Crate is a monthly service that sends epic geek, gamer, and pop culture items to your door for less than $20 a month, including one-of-a-kind items you won't get anywhere else. And last month featured stuff from Marvel, like those ice cube Marvel ice cubes, Rick and Morty, Power Rangers, which is the shirt Dan has on, as well. Wow, very styling.
great shirt.
And so much more fun stuff that every month you get a fun. It's like Christmas or Hanukkah. Every month you get something in a box filled with cool new stuff.
I have
Yes?
to say, Dan makes a very fetching spokesmodel.
He does. He does make it sexy. So anyway, please thank you, Loot Crate. To go support Loot Crate and us, go sign up today at lootcrate.com/moviefights and use code MovieFights for 10% off your new subscription. So again, lootcrate.com/moviefights, code MovieFights. Please go check them out. They're supporters of us, so you should be supporters of them. Thank you, Loot Crate. All right, let's do this.
Now let's do this!
This is where we fight!
Fight!
Round one. James Wan. It's Wan, right? I'm saying it right, Dan? Oh,
Yes.
Speaking of which, before I say it right, as I'm about to, I cut to you, but I didn't introduce you. Before we start, let's make sure everyone knows Dan Murrell on the Dan Cam, fact checker of the stars.
Hey guys, I have a fancy new microphone this week.
It sounds good.
Does it sound good?
Sounds great.
Loud and clear, pal.
There we go. I'm ready to rock.
So you're going to be fact checking if anybody says anything wrong, and fact checking me as well. Is it James Wan? Am I saying that right?
Yes,
Okay.
James Wan.
Great. James Wan, director of Saw and Furious 7, was now announced as the director of Aquaman this week. First off, before we get to our round, do we like that?
Sure. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, Furious 7 had a lot of stuff going on, and he managed it all, so yeah.
So is there going to be an underwater car chase, you think?
I think so. Maybe a seahorse chase.
Be pretty cool if they could figure out how to make that work.
He can navigate some action. I think seahorse chases not completely off the scope of possibility.
Interesting. So not much of a fight. It's sort of hard to tell what is he going to do. A lot of you wanted us to fight about it, but it's like, what are we going to fight about? I need to know
We
some
don't
more
know
information.
details.
So I'm open. I'm interested. We'll see how it goes. The fight we are going to do comes from Jackson Workman, an apothecary man on Twitter. He asked, which director should direct a superhero movie? This is to be one that has not been planned or announced. So dream director, dream superhero movie. What's the team up we want to see? And Hal Rudnick, we're starting with you.
You know what? Why not go big? Why not dream big? Someone I would love to see enter the DC Marvel fray would be James Cameron. Welcome to the party. That would be epic. He has done, as a director, so many revolutionary things action-wise. T2, take it what you will, the romantic aspects of Titanic, as an epic movie that had an epic feel to it. Mission accomplished there. And Avatar was a visual game changer. Take that point of view, that style, and add it to Green Lantern. Green Lantern is going to need to end. He's going to have his own film. He is part of the Justice League. They're going to have to set him up. I am sick of these superhero films that seem like placeholders. Green Lantern, directed by James Cameron? How much would we look forward to that? Ridiculous. That's the one I pick.
All right, we'll hear more. Michael, what's your choice?
My choice is Catherine Bigelow directing the Black Widow standalone movie. We've all wanted a standalone movie for Black Widow, and Catherine Bigelow has a history of doing grittier, action-driven, more dramatic roles, and I think that's what we want with a Black Widow film that's going to have some depth, but it's also going to be globe-trotting and huge and just gritty and raw. And I think that that's something we haven't really seen from this side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet. I feel that she could be bringing that, and I feel that it would still work with everything that we've had thus far.
Great. And fun fact, James Cameron, Catherine Bigelow dated for a little while, right, Dan?
They were married.
Yeah, they were
married.
They have a kid.
Do they have a kid? Or so Davis, what's your pick? Is your pick starring their kid?
No. My pick is Steven Spielberg's Hawkman. And I'm thinking Golden Age Hawkman. Carter Hall. He is an American archaeologist in the early 40s. Starting to sound familiar. He's like a reincarnated Egyptian priest. He and his lover were prince, who was betrayed by a priest and keeps getting regenerated throughout history. And so the first one, because I got plans for a whole franchise here. The first one is very much Indiana Jones. It's him, the reincarnated version of his girlfriend, and the guy that killed him. They're like exploring a temple, which is actually like a temple to him in the past, which they will uncover Mummy 2 style, but like good over the course of the thing. Turns out the guy that betrayed him in the past, betrays him now, is in league with the Nazis, because they're great enemies.
They are great enemies.
They're trying to get rare stores of nth metal, which is like DC's kind of version of like
Vibranium.
Vibranium. It's an isotope of iron. It has a bunch of weird properties like gravity, defying stuff so he can fly, makes you super strong. Anyways, leaves him for dead. He constructs the suit, battles the Nazis, saves the day, kicking off several different other franchises. Hawk Girl, so you can get a cool female superhero franchise out of that. Other Hawkman future movies, because he's had multiple lives. He was like a knight. He was a cowboy. He was, I think, like a noir detective. So you have his future franchises, which are all cool sort of period pieces, flashing from the modern time.
All right, we're talking about one movie today, though, and if
I don't get to
if
go.
I could,
Okay.
oh, may I jump in?
Go ahead, Hal. You can rudely interrupt his pitch.
Oh, I mean, I'd let him talk about like decades of franchises if you
No,
want.
it's fair. Go, Hal. That was not rude.
Yeah, so it's not the worst thing I ever heard, but what bottomed it out for me was saying Steven Spielberg basically directing Indiana Jones again. All of those elements are way too reminiscent. Why do you want to see him go back to that exact same well? Let's have someone else handle this material. I mean, that way too eerily reminiscent of Indiana Jones. That's not something that would be like, we've already seen that. He already did that. And then with yours, we already saw that movie. It was called Salt, and it was okay.
I'd argue that a Black Widow movie is a little different than Salt in a
What
lot
you
of
what you described was Salt.
I described. I
Yeah.
described in a pretty vague term of like where it could go.
So
but
describe for us more clearly.
I mean, we can be going back to the basics. We haven't seen all of Natasha's training or anything like that. If we get the in-between movie of, hey, what happened before Iron Man 2 and the little glimpses we got in Age of Ultron, and that's our film, like her growing and really being exposed to all the turmoil of war, all of that sort of stuff. And that's where Catherine Bigelow as a director really shines, because she's able to dive into the hard-hitting human qualities of what it means to be a killer and all that sort of stuff, which we saw in Hurt Locker. And
So yours is a prequel.
it very well could be. I'm not saying it has to be, but I'm saying that that's a direction that I feel that Catherine Bigelow could really excel with. But we could take it the opposite direction, flash forward, and you've got angles of dealing with survival's guilt, things like that, and how Black Widow's kind of moving past that. Or if you want to keep it a little more fun and fresh, like there are a lot of different angles that you can be going.
Well,
I'd
what
like
if a
to.
Black Widow movie was good? Come on, I want to hear your pitch. Which do you prefer? I mean, like as the fan, are you saying?
do
you see her minus the Avengers in the future, or do you see her becoming Black Widow?
Well, I don't think we've not seen a prequel of that nature or like an in-between yet in the Marvel universe. And I think at the point that we'd be cutting in this prequel style, she'd already be somewhat established as Black Widow, but like learning more of the underbelly of what she's become a part
I mean,
of.
not only is it what you said very reminiscent of Salt, but you also described one of the maybe the most depressing MCU movie I ever heard, Survivor's Guilt, and and The Hurt Locker. So using those as the cornerstones of your film, yeah, I mean that's not a Marvel film. That's something other than a Marvel film, and that thing is Salt. I would say with the Green Lantern film directed by James Cameron, his visual style, the excitement that he could bring to it, the Green Lantern power ring can summon infinitesimal possibilities.
Ryan Reynolds showed us that.
Yeah, so let's cleanse our palates from that that poorly done version and have somewhat, and also the visuals in that movie were flat. It just wasn't appealing on so many levels. James Cameron is someone who could take the story of maybe Hal Jordan battling Sinestro or whatever you want it to be, and put it on that grand scale and juggle story and make it one of the most visually exciting superhero movies ever.
David,
because
chime
all
in
we
here.
need is
Well, I mean, like,
visuals.
there's
All
there's
we
no
need is visuals,
there's no
right?
denying that, like, spectacle-wise, that James Cameron could nail it.
Agreed.
But with something like as far out there as the Green Lanterns, where you have like, I mean, it's basically like a Guardians level type buy-in. You'd want somebody like less by the book. You want something a little more
and
fresh.
he's
a little
very
more,
by the book.
Yeah, it would be so like sterile. You want something like there's like for as beautiful as Avatar is, there's like no imagination. It needs like some levity. It needs all these other elements besides just like
No
big
imagination.
visuals, big CG.
You know, he's not going to write the screenplay. He's going
Thank
to take.
God.
Yes. Agreed. He's going to make it a visual smorgasbord. He's going to blow our minds. By the book, the visuals and the 3D in Avatar, not by the
All right,
book.
we like Cameron. I get it, but I want to hear more about why against the other. What's wrong with the Hawkman here, Michael?
Well, I don't necessarily see that Spielberg's necessarily the guy like outside
That's
of
inherently flawed.
Outside
Look,
of
first of all, he
playing
nailed it before.
No, of
you
course.
you gotta play it safe with a new. We've seen enough people try.
Gotta play
I
it
feel
safe.
like-
You just dinged James Cameron for playing it safe, and you just
Okay,
said we
I
gotta
feel
play
like
it
Marvel
safe.
also has not played it safe with any of their director picks. If you've got James Gunn, who up until that point hadn't been directing like a massive blockbuster and was handed a like oddball thing to direct, which it makes sense on like, oh, he's directed oddball sort of things, but giving him that huge budget is wild. Same sort of with, I mean, a lot of their picks have been just like one step away rather than just keeping with the same.
What about I've heard everyone against you too. I want to hear why is the Bigelow Black Widow interesting to you guys?
Like I said, the picture he painted, way too dark and weird. Survivor's guilt and Hurt Locker as sort of the touchstones for what your film is going to be. Count me out for that.
They even like lightly touched on that kind of stuff in the Avengers 2 and other movies, and the internet lost its mind. It like couldn't handle.
I think they
so
were
what,
losing
like a whole movie about that.
No, I think they were losing their mind over the Banner and Black Widow angle, which kind of came out of nowhere.
No, they were
kids say.
arguing that she wanted a baby, and that's not what there was that whole
Well, right.
feminist thing.
There is that angle, but that's not what I see being explored in a Bigelow film. But
Bigelow's pretty dark.
Bigelow's pretty dark.
So I guess is this lighthearted? I guess I'm not
What-
fully.
let
or is
me
this
ask
a
you
dark.
that-
Hold
let
on,
me-
hold on, I got
Okay.
how. Is this the dark Marvel movie, or is Bigelow going lighter?
I think it is darker for Marvel but lighter for Bigelow. So we're going to be meeting in the middle of like, oh, so for Bigelow it will be a stretch as far as like it's going to be a lighter thing. For Marvel it's going to be a darker thing, which I think will be refreshing because we've kind of been getting the same tone from Marvel for a while now.
That's absolutely not true. Guardians of the Galaxy was mind-blowing space adventure, very funny and surprising. Winter Soldier, that added a new darker tone into the fray. The darker tone came in Winter Soldier. We already have that. Now I want to pose a question to Andy and you guys. These three movies, you have the possibility. Which one excites you most? Spielberg's Hawkman, Bigelow's Black Widow, or James Cameron's Green Lantern? Imagine that. Like that gives me goosebumps thinking about we don't have to settle for placeholders in these standalone superhero movies. James Cameron will give us an epic that we would look forward to. Let's make it epic.
Neither the name James Cameron nor Green Lantern delight me. Them together delight me even less.
Wow.
So-
But Spielberg
I don't get that.
and Hawkman gets your whatever going.
Hawkman, just purely based on not knowing anything about it, I'm more intrigued
he's a
purely
dude, he's
based
a
on that.
Hawk
He's a
suit.
dude with wings.
Yeah, flies
Like,
around.
I'm more
he has a
interested in-
hammer, mace.
Doesn't he have a hammer?
I'm
he's a
more
mace.
interested in the reincarnation aspect and the franchise building.
That-
but we're kind of deviating from what this whole argument is
There's
about.
such
Whether
franchise potential.
Whether Spielberg
Everything
is
these
the one-
days is about franchise. It's no longer just the
No,
movie.
I
it's
understand
the mega
that.
franchise.
But is Spielberg the one who is the best suited for that particular franchise? I'd say not
not
necessarily.
franchise. He's suited for the Indiana Jones movie that kicks off
Really?
that.
It seems
All right,
like he's
all right.
left that phase of his career.
I think to answer your question, he's not. I think you two established that well, so I'm eliminating Davis, and in between you two, I'm giving Hal the point just because I think yours is too dark, and I think he said it. It's like we saw a taste of it, wasn't great. Whether it's the best or not, you did make a very strong argument as why that's an epic thing we want to see, and I think we all would go see that in a heartbeat. We'd be too curious not to. Hal gets the point. Dan, any cleanup?
Two quick things. James Cameron and Catherine Bigelow, no children. And Hal, you said that James Cameron would not be writing the screenplay for the movie. Might be a tough sell because he's written every single movie that he's done. So.
Well, he's not writing the Avatar sequels. He hired people to help him do that. I
Well,
read.
but I mean, it's still his story.
It's story by.
That's what I'm
Story
saying.
by.
It might be a tough sell.
He might do the story then, but not the script.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'll talk to the guy.
Round two.
Since I'm out, though, can I just say that I would totally watch James Cameron?
Cameron.
Sorry. I would totally, now that we're done,
done.
that would be awesome. I just had
think
to, I don't
we
know
all
what
agree.
this was supposed
And
to
I'd
do.
watch your Spielberg Hawkman.
I'd watch it.
JSA.
Fight 2. All right. Our good friend Dwayne the Rock Johnson and our other good friend
Zach Stentz.
Zach Stentz is rumored to be writing the Big Trouble in Little China remake. A lot of people are flipping out. I'm okay. I mean, I think let's give it a shot until we flip out. Those are two strong people, so I'm kind of like, all right, let's see what they can take on it. It could be complete garbage, or it could be a super fun ride. But in honor of that, we wanted to take that theme and not argue about our friends, just because why do I do that? That's not fair. But really, I thought a more interesting question came from what current star should reboot an 80s movie? Which one would we like? Take any star, any action, or any movie from the 80s, and how would we do it? I want you guys to pitch it to me. Michael, you're leading us off.
Great. First, I'm going to say the film that I initially thought of and then was like, no, this will never be remade, more because it'll just wind up being controversial, and that was Weird Science. Because, like, it's a really great, quirky cult classic, but there's no way that anyone's going to, like, get behind that. It'd get too much backlash. The one that I decided on was Idris Elba doing Rambo, which I think it's going to be in the darker camp again, but that's kind of what Rambo is. This time it might be a little more permissible because you update the story. It's not Vietnam. It's Afghanistan or Iraq, dealing with PTSD and just all of the turmoil that comes with that. You can immediately imagine Elba in that role because he brings such gravitas to it, but he also can play that destroyed, that disheveled, that really wrought power. He's a powerhouse on screen. He would be absolutely magnetic. And I feel like, I mean, like Rambo with Stallone is sort of, it's done. We're done with that angle.
It's not. They're doing another one.
But
Last Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, Last Blood. Let's go back to First Blood.
All right. Very intrigued. Davis, what's your pick?
My pick is a reboot of RoboCop, which you're gonna say they just did, but they're gonna do it right, and it's gonna be with Christian Bale as Alex Murphy. And hold on here, the one that they did was terrible, and this new one,
I think we can all agree on that.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was like too serious. It wasn't good. What most people remember is just that RoboCop's like an awesome action movie, but it also was like hugely satirical and had a lot of comedy elements and just like threw up all of the craziness of like 80s culture. And that's what I think they totally missed the mark on with the reboot. And what I want to see is just like the smartphone, yoga, weird startup like society that is today. I want to see them like really go to town on that. And I would want to get Paul Verhoeven back as the director, because George Miller just proved that even if you're in your 70s, you can still direct like an amazing action movie. And I think like his old sensibilities as a director would like, and the fact that he made the original one would help keep it more in tone with the original, unlike the new one, which was like serious. Oh, and it's a hard, like a dirty, filthy hard R, like disgusting hard R.
Fascinating. I like that. Verhoeven, great director, done some amazing things back in the day. And I wonder if the Mad Max will now trigger older directors coming back to like sort of reinvent their things. Interesting. Hal, what's your thing?
Well,
Let's hear yours first.
yes. One of my favorite movies from the 80s that doesn't get mentioned enough. Oh, man, what a great story. I'd love to see The Running Man come back. I mean, The Running Man has so many frickin' cameo. Not only is it a great hero role, but, having to take down every boss at every level. Sub-Zero is now Plain Zero. And the all-American guy played by Jesse the Body Ventura and Jim Brown. That movie gets my juices flowing. And you know what? Total Recall failed because they lost the tone. Colin Farrell was way too serious.
And Mars.
Yeah, yep. They just lost the tone of that Schwarzenegger fun. I hate to say it, but you know who's gonna bring it in spades? Dwayne the mother effing Rock Johnson. Imagine him in The Running Man. You look at you shaking your head.
You want to see my notes?
Running Man, yes. Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
I'm the worst fighter.
Yes. Imagine Dwayne the Rock Johnson going through every level and trying to, helping his friends out, trying to get to Quado. Oh my gosh.
Wait, Quado was
Quado
Total
is-
Recall.
Total
Oh,
Recall.
I mean, trying to get to the. Sorry, that was bad. But no, trying to get to.
disqualification? Yeah, I think that's disqualification.
No, trying to get
to
to the underground freedom fighters down there.
Okay.
Yes.
That is true.
Yes. And it would just be amazing. It would be amazing. Sorry, I was talking about Total Recall. I had it on the brain. But yeah, the idea of this gives me.
I would
chills.
watch The Rock do Total Recall if he had done it. That might have
Because
been an
you
interesting
know,
movie.
and you know why The Rock is perfect casting.
Because he's perfect in general.
Yes, and he we can kiss his butt all we want, but as an action star, he has a sense of humor. Schwarzenegger, king of the one-liners. Rock could bring that element and give us so much fun. And I'll tell you one more reason why I would really like to see The Running Man remade. The dystopian future films that we have today are pretty much all serious, mopey YA films. This is a picture of a dystopian future that would be a fun, kick-ass joyride. Not like, oh, the Maze Runner. Oh no. Oh, where's PETA and the Hunger Games? Let's have some fun with YA. Sorry, I had to make with the dystopian future. Sorry, I had to make those orgasmic noises.
Oh, is that what that was? Thanks for the clarification. All right, so guys, which one do you want to not see?
Sorry, I'm all about that. So, my second choice was Predator reboot with The Rock. I just think that we could reboot all of Schwarzenegger with The Rock.
With The Rock.
Sorry,
Great
But why not Idris Elba as Rambo?
because they're already doing another one. The last Rambo movie, Stallone's recent,
Stallone-a-sons?
going back, yeah, is amazing. Rambo, I think we just called
Like
Rambo,
that
right?
term.
Just Rambo was excellent. I was pleasantly surprised with how good it is. I don't know if you need to reboot it. You absolutely could, but it doesn't need a rebooting because they're still doing it. RoboCop needs it. It's a great franchise. It's being lost to the ages
But
because
why
they remade
Christian
it terribly.
That's
Well,
my
also-
big question.
I absolutely
Wasn't
love Christian Bale,
Aronofsky
and I think he's just going to
Darren
get it.
Darren
Aronofsky
Aronofsky
was going to do RoboCop, right?
Darren Aronofsky was originally attached to the RoboCop remake. Yes.
Was that with Christian Bale?
They
never said anything,
I don't
I
believe
guess.
he's in the story. I'll check. I don't believe he was ever attached to it.
But would you don't? But you said Verhoeven, you wouldn't have gone.
Oh no, I would go directly to the source, and I think Christian Bale, take him or leave him. I will take him. I'll take two to
right,
go.
but we're
I love
discussing
him.
which actor should be rebooting, not which director.
Sorry,
so for
but
that
no, but I
very
think that
reason.
Christian Bale, he's he's a kind of a crazy guy, and I think that he would just get into the role of the cop, then turn robotic cop, and he would just kill it.
Is it a good role?
I don't think it's a sumptuous role for an
I think
actor.
I think
And
everybody around him has a lot more fun than RoboCop.
RoboCop is like a neutered Batman.
Can I tell you why he would be great at it,
let me
though?
Yes, let's hear why he'd be great.
Okay.
Because it's basically a human who then becomes a robot, who then becomes finds his humanity. Equilibrium, amazing movie. He's on medication that dampens emotions, and that whole movie is him becoming a human again, finding his emotions, and it's goddamn beautiful. And that's what this movie would.
So
it would
you're
have him-
arguing the retread with Spielberg and again, but through Christian Bale.
Yeah. Wait. I mean, this is all reboots, so this is all going to be.
Well, no,
retreads.
I'm just saying the logic there of let's just go back to what we know. I don't feel that. Well,
I don't think there's anything wrong with people that have proven they can do something tremendously well, doing it again. I don't know. I don't need it to be a new actor doing something completely new, which wouldn't even be the case with Idris Elba playing Rambo, because that's him in all of his action roles.
It does sound a little bit tired. And Christian Bale, seeing half his face for almost a whole movie, haven't we been down that road before? I don't know if he's going to want to play that. And we're just way too close to the last RoboCop that came out. I don't know how
Doesn't count.
you could say that.
It's a dream universe.
It's
That's true.
just
We're
came
negating
out.
whether or
James
not he
Cameron got
wants-
his Green Lantern, and I get my
No, we're
reboot.
yeah. That's a dream universe, but what has happened has happened. Otherwise, the movies that we're rebooting would not exist. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So why no Rambo?
Oh, definitely no Rambo because the films are still being made. There's a Rambo coming out. Also, it's a waste of Idris Elba's talents. The man is a great actor. Playing Rambo would not be a strong part for Idris Elba. I think Idris Elba could do anything, but that would be a waste of Idris Elba.
Michael, final thoughts and why not?
I'd love to see him as James Bond.
Oh, I mean, yes on James Bond, 100%. But I do feel that he's incredibly versatile. I think also he would not be doing the, like, oh, this is Idris Elba doing Stallone. It would be a fresh bent on the whole thing, which he's smart enough to not be doing that.
It would just be so weird. Rambos are still being made. Last Blood is coming out.
And they're good. Rambo was good.
Yeah, it's like why you can't reboot something that we're in the midst of.
But
you
have
know?
to you have to keep it going, and we're not. And it's basically like, all right, this story of Rambo, like we've got a Last Blood coming, so we've got to keep the Rambo franchise going. So who's the next?
Keep it going or reboot it. I mean,
All right. Davis, final thoughts.
I think you don't need it. Rambo's still awesome. I don't know how to argue against. I would love a Running Man with The Rock.
Imagine
but
The
not
Rock-
as much as I want mine. But like right behind it.
Don't lie. You don't have to add that last part. Come over to the dark side, baby.
But I don't want to lose again.
That's okay.
Hey man, it's fine
Hey,
in this corner.
I'll take you out for Little Caesars
All right,
afterwards.
well, I think you're not helping your cause anyway, so you're going to suck. And then I think you did sort of knock his down more than he knocked yours down, so Hal gets a point again. 2 points, Hal. Wow.
All
You just
of
are, like, so
Schwarzenegger.
upset
We're gonna
that
read
he
gets
it.
the point.
Last Action
Let's do
Hero.
it. Let's do
True
it.
Lies.
Dan,
Everything with The Rock.
What do you think?
You want my opinion?
Sure.
I think it was a lot of Hal explaining why you shouldn't remake The Running Man because he loved what was already made so much personally.
That-
But hey, I'm not fighting.
Oh, I didn't even mean fair. I meant like, what do you think? What are you adding anything?
Yeah, sorry, Hal. I'm just sometimes.
okay,
Way to throw it.
Sometimes it's hard for me to not say anything. Just to clarify,
I don't disagree, but I think he made the strongest argument based on that.
Sure. We never actually mentioned that this was in reference to the Big Trouble in Little China remake that The Rock is attached to. And
We did.
also, well, not at the top of the round. We mentioned at the top of the show. And also, yeah, Paul Verhoeven is actually
did.
older than George Miller. He's 76.
Oh wow.
That's it.
Good
So
to
it would be
know.
even
We
better.
talked about Zach Stenson, Dwayne, and we're not going to argue about it. What do we think?
Right, but we never actually said Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, we didn't?
No.
Oh, all right, fair. Great. I thought we did. I'll play it back. I can't play it back now, but I'm sure I was wrong. I'm
Listen,
wrong
let-
a
let's
lot.
not
Well,
have Big Trouble
whoever's
in movie
right or
fights.
wrong, let us know in the comments down below.
Yes.
Sure they will.
Oh, they'll do
You don't have
that.
to ask them.
Yeah,
They'll
let's
just
have
do
the
that.
Dan and Andy scoreboard.
Round 3. I probably was wrong. Melissa McCarthy's Spy opens this weekend, and it's been getting great reviews. The tomato meter is off the chain.
The tomato meter.
People are saying it's her best movie ever, and Statham's funny. I haven't seen it. I don't know. Has anyone seen it?
Andy,
JT, you saw it. Thumb up or thumb down? You gave it a little bit of this. All right.
the tomato.
It's not a
meter.
thumb down. But in honor of that, Matt Reinstedel at Stedel asked us on Twitter, what is the best spy movie? And to make things interesting, we are excluding James Bond, any Bond movies. So what is the best spy movie, not including James Bond? And we're going to start this time with you, Davis.
I think the best spy movie, not including James Bond, is Kingsman. It just came out. It's great because it's like a send-up. It's like the actionier version of like an Austin Powers. It takes all of the tropes of like the British spy movie and does them, and then adds a lot of modern sensibilities. I don't know, you have like British gentleman, gadgets. You have the like eccentric villain, his like cool enforcer sidekick that has some. In this case, she had like razor prosthetic legs. And then the movie is just like so much fun. It takes like climate change and uses that as like the driving force for the villain. It involves just like, it keeps escalating, going more and more over the top. It has the church action scene is one of the, like, I think greatest action sequences in recent history, where he's just murdering everybody. And it pays homage, does some fun new stuff, and is like
Reinvents
great.
the spy formula. Got it. Hal, what's your pick?
Fun movie, but my pick is a game changer. Born Identity. Born Identity is the best one. We were used to the well-dressed, suave secret agent. This made it more human and complex, the secret agent world. This is a secret agent that was like a government-trained weapon, and he was conflicted, and that added a real humanity to it. Also, it brought up a darker tone to these secret agent films, saying that, oh, the government is capable of some just very dark, disreputable things. It really, instead of it being black and white, the good guys versus the bad guys, it was like, wow, who is the real enemy? And it wasn't just a great film for that regard. The action in Born Identity, those close-up action sequences, and the style of action have been so influential. So not just the kind of spy movie, but that kind of action has influenced Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, the way the action is done there. I would say you wouldn't have the tone in Captain America Winter Soldier with that elevator scene, the close-up fighting in that elevator scene. Born Identity ushered in that whole era of a new style of action and a new take on the secret agent.
Dan, have something to add there?
I just do you mean like are you talking about the Paul Greengrass stuff? Because that was the sequels. Or do you mean... I just want to clarify.
Oh, and I know Doug Liman directed
right.
the first one. But that style...
Magazine, that was 2, right?
Yeah.
No, Magazine was in the...
That's my problem. I'll check. I just want to clarify to make sure we know what we're talking about.
I'm just
so
saying
you're chasing the right
I'm just
facts.
saying the action style, even just the tone of like, who are your friends, who are your enemies.
But your point, I'm please verify, because I feel they do sort of blend together, those
Right.
movies, and I feel like the Greengrass was the one that got it a little
The
bit more
Greengrass
grittier.
makes it more jostled.
He got
find
more.
out.
He got more fast cutting. You just mean the like really, instead of over the top choreography, like really like brutal, hard hitting, limb snapping, like very like economical motion wise, like very
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, while we looked that up, Barity, what's your take?
Inspired somewhat also by the prompting of the question and it being a comedy as well. I picked Top Secret, which is, for those unfamiliar, if you guys love Airplane and have not seen Top Secret, it's by the same
Top
guys
Secret,
who
yes.
did it. The premise is a rock and roller played by Val Kilmer is inducted to become a spy on an espionage mission to go to East Germany and recover a scientist. And it just gets more and more nutty from there. There are the sight gags in this film are better than anything that Airplane delivers, which is a high bar already set. I'd say the comedy.
Shots fired.
I mean, I'd say the line delivery the lines in Airplane are stellar. And
Airplane 2, I'd be with you, but really, you're going to put it up against Airplane.
I'd say
okay.
the sight gags are stronger than in Airplane. Also, just the set pieces of the underwater fight scene that takes place. There's also an entire scene that is delivered in a foreign language, but it's actually the entire scene is filmed backwards and then played in reverse, and it is phenomenally pieced together. The whole film is just bonkers and fun and wild and really takes all the spy conventions and turns them on their head, but in a delightful way. It's just a good time all around, and I think it plays really into just the fun that spy will be bringing.
So interesting. I feel like you've all picked something that we're
Vastly
saying has
different.
different, but also reinvented the spy way. Yours more current, yours more funny, yours more gritty. What now? Getting to the gritty. What's the best spy movie? Why does that genre shift make yours the best?
Why-
Going back to Davis, just
Well, yours, I've never seen it. It sounds funny and quirky, but I think because I've never heard of it, it probably is forgotten by most people, and that's like an indicator of its quality. Sorry. Born Identity, awesome movie. Not as good as Born Supremacy. I think that's the superior movie. And while it was great,
I would agree with you on that.
It doesn't, like, it's not a great super spy movie. It's a little, like, too serious. Whereas Kingsman is very much in that, like, very fun, like, over-the-top spy world, while still throwing up tropes of it, but also keeping the tone and then taking it to the next level.
I'll just say, I like The Kingsman, but it deals with everything we know. You mentioned, Brits, gadgets, the mega villain. Bourne Identity, and I picked Bourne Identity over Bourne Supremacy because Bourne Identity ushered in a new era of spy film. The same way James Bond was a game changer and defined a generation, Bourne Identity sent ripples across spy movies, war movies, superhero films. The thumbprint, if to pick a term.
Dan, you have some thoughts?
Oh, I just wanted to settle it. The magazine fight is in this Bourne Supremacy, the sequel, but the Bourne Identity does have the fight where he's got the knife, the pen, and he puts it. And I was looking at the style, and there is some of the kind of fighting that Hal's referring to, the one-on-one close-up.
Yeah,
kind of.
and I know Doug Liman directed the first one, and Paul Greengrass directed the subsequent two, and I love the whole series, Jeremy Renner notwithstanding. But the Bourne Identity, it changed the genre. Top Secret is a fun movie, but it's not Val Kilmer's best comedy even. Real Genius is his best comedy. Bourne Identity lifted and took it to a new place, which we are living in today.
I think it goes, Identity introduced ideas that were then perfected, and the ripples came from Supremacy. I feel they were like, hey, what if this happened? And everyone was like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. And then they realized what they were sitting on and like elevated it for Supremacy. And that's when everyone was like, oh, holy heck, this is a thing that we should care about.
If you guys all want to turn the debate into which is the best Bourne movie, I'll do that because
we're
they're
just trying
all
to turn
great.
it away from Identity to prove that it is not the right one.
They're all great. No, it is.
But you picked
it is the right
Identity,
one.
and they're hitting you why Identity is not stronger.
Oh, I'll take Identity.
Kingsman. Why not Kingsman for you guys? And then I need you to defend back. But
I feel Kingsman is just too bubblegum of a spy film. It's fun, yes, but it's not necessarily. It's very formulaic in its conventions. You see a lot of the things coming, and it also is borrowing very heavily from like YA tropes that we're just getting a lot of like, you guys need to work together, just like things like that. And it's like, okay, great. Like, we're going to be learning a little lesson. And like,
that is not at all. When you watched that movie, you weren't like, you were like, yes, more. Don't even fib yourself.
When it was, hey, everybody, we need to split up. And even though you're a Kingsman, you're going to be dealing with the least important thing at the moment, like up in space to go. It just was like, it felt very divided near the end. And it didn't leave me like, can't wait for the next one.
Didn't like that last. I didn't like that that last line. Left a bad taste in my mouth. One of the last lines of the film. I don't know, just way too dirty. Like
you're talking about the anal sex.
Yeah,
line.
the anal sex thing.
Oh, it was real.
First of all, that's how
there.
all the old Bonds.
What did
because it's not trying to be something vastly different. It's trying to follow the conventions of the like James Bond.
But that came
movie.
from out of left field, and it was just like
all the movies
more
end,
unsettling than
all
satisfying.
all the old movies end with like him sleeping with whatever woman is still left that didn't betray
Even
him.
if, but if you
kill.
just soften the language though,
Casino
and just
Royale,
like,
it
want
ends
to
with
do it in my butt
something a
or
little
something
more
like
extreme.
that,
Okay.
that would have been more
But
acceptable.
like classic.
It was
Classic Bond.
it was just too grating. It was a little too blunt, just the way it was executed.
What's your thoughts? Is that
made me rankle.
Because this is like an opinion. Like I thought it was like hilarious, like great. Like
I
for
didn't
the
like the
reasons
way it
you
was
didn't like it,
executed.
I was like,
hold on.
awesome.
Go ahead.
So it's like it's a matter of taste, where it's like that we saw the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like
But
an awesome.
tell me why
throwback.
you were saying because that's what Bond does.
Yeah, because like that's what this movie has always been trying to be, is like the Bond movie, but while kind of making fun of it, but while staying true to it, and then sort of modernizing it.
It was a more coarse version of what Bond would do. So
I mean, the whole movie was.
Yeah,
I
it
like
wasn't-
Bond
it
and My
wasn't-
Fair Lady.
I like
put
both
together.
It
movies.
wasn't I'm going to bet a woman. It was I'm going to.
Hey guys, I like
Also,
both your
she
choices,
chose-
but they're
she chose that.
they're derivative choices that are send-ups of certain genres. The movie I picked was a bomb dropped. It changed the culture. It broke the mold, and it's like, oh, spies could be this. Oh, who's good guy? Who's a bad guy? That whole thing could be blown up, and there's this gray area. Oh, wow.
All right. I heard it all. I'm gonna make a call. Dan, any other thing you want to add before I do this?
The line in question is, if you save the world, we can do it in the a-hole. So there you go.
Well,
Great writing.
I think this was a lot of good arguments in there. I do think I love your movie. It's a little bit more obscure, and I don't know if that's a spy movie. It's the best maybe spy comedy over Austin Powers. I don't even know.
I'd
debate,
say yes.
But I love the movie. Everyone should see the movie, but Michael's. I'm putting between you two, and then I think they all got you. And Davis said it the best, where he knocked you out. I think Supremacy really was the one that took Bourne Identity and take it to the next level. So Davis gets the point.
I'm fine with that.
This fake applause feels
And
so
I think
good.
you make it. I think your art. Yes, it was a gross line, and it's just, I get it. But that's what the movie was. It was you hit it on the head of like. It was taking Bond to that level of the raunchiness and extreme, and seeing an extreme Bond was a different new fun thing. And I think we all want to see another one. Wouldn't we watch the sequel?
Yes.
Kingsman 2? All right, round 4. The boys are back. Entourage, baby. Turtle and Drama and Vinny and E. Oh, God, I love those guys, right, Dan? Don't you love those guys?
Oh, sure.
Don't you wish they were just on you all the time? Anyway,
Wait,
Entourage.
what?
Around you. I meant around you.
No, on you. Stick
Not
with your
on
original phrasing.
I didn't know it was going to be
The
that kind of
Entourage
party.
movie is coming out in theaters. It's out in theaters. We did an honest trailer, if you didn't watch it already, for the whole Entourage series. That was a fun time. Thanks, Jordan, for watching all those episodes.
you.
And check out the Screen Junkie show where we talk about TV shows turned into movies.
Yes, which we did last Thursday. So check out all of our content.
The Honest trailer was like spot on, and then also knocked away my nostalgia to want to go see it. I'm like, oh wait, no, okay.
Oh,
now
right.
I was
do
like,
remember what
I'm
this
like,
is.
man, Entourage, and I'm like, no, you're right, you nailed it. I don't need to see it. So
need
you
to see
saved me $15.
Thank you. So Kyle Naranha on Twitter asked us, what is the best movie made from a TV show? And this has to be one movie, not an entire series, which triggers the show we did this week. But now we're really going to put it to a head. What is the best TV show turned movie? And again, one specific movie, not Star Trek. And we're going to start again with you, Hal.
Oh, it's South Park. Bigger, longer, uncut. Such a funny movie. It's what a success that it wasn't just a random cash grab. It's like, let's have more fun. Let's do more with the show. Let's also not lose the spirit of the show. Let's double down. It was dirty, it was raw, and it was thoughtful, and it was funny. It comments on censorship. It's one of the best musicals maybe ever. Okay?
As somebody coming from a musical theater background, I might debate that, but
This is the place to do it.
But it's up there.
One of the best movie musicals. Entertaining as hell.
He's not even giving us
funny
that.
as hell. If you say it's not, you know what I'll say to you? Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Jesus.
I'm just
It's from
quoting.
the movie.
It's from the movie. It's
not
from the
offensive
movie.
if you
Bleep
quote
it out. Watch the movie. You can't make this argument without saying Uncle Fucker. Bam.
All right. Michael.
I like how just like, well, I'm going, and it's slightly unconventional in its selection, but Monty Python and the Holy Grail, in the fact that we had Monty Python's Flying Circus, and now Holy Grail brings us as far as cult classics and comedies go, this is like top of the list. In every capacity, you've got high-level comedy, wordplay, really fantastic jokes that are quotable time and time again. If you want to talk about ripples being cast in the comedy circuit, I mean, Monty Python was doing that in spades to begin with, and then they made a movie, and that continued to permeate, and then they continued to do it again and again and again, but we're not touching on those
Was
again
that
and again and again.
character started in the show?
Life of Brian.
Which character?
Holy Grail was the first movie from, and then did they ever do anything in Flying Circus that was Holy Grail-ish?
Flying Circus preceded the Holy Grail by about a year, so they finished the run of the show, and then they made
Holy Grail.
So they took
Yeah.
the style from the show.
Yeah,
and made a movie
the
out of it.
sensibilities, the humor, all of that then translated into, what if we were doing like a full-fledged narrative, and that's what we got, was this just raucous fun in our wonderful magical times.
It's a great movie. Davis.
Okay, my choice is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, which is based off of the animated series and did get a theatrical release. So, I think that it's the best because it takes the things that made the animated series, which is just like inarguably a spectacular show, like the animation, the orchestral music, Kevin Conroy, who debate the live action Batman's is like the best Batman. Mark Hamill's Joker is great, but they do it somehow even bigger. Like it's animated, but it just seems huge. The story is self-contained, so even if you don't, it still takes place in the world in those versions of the characters as the animated series, but you don't have to have watched it to understand it. It stealthily even tells sort of an origin of Batman, so even if you have like really no idea about the character, you can get into it. And it tells, though it's based on a kid's show, a very dark, very serious like story, and one of the best like psychological breakdowns of Batman that's still even been done. And so it's like, I think Dark Knight's the best Batman movie, but this is like easily the second best Batman movie ever made.
Fight, guys.
So you're saying it's not even the best Batman movie, but it's your choice.
Well, because the category is movie based off of like a TV show, not best movie. So I don't think that I don't think it knocks it out of that.
Does Holy Grail is you said it's standalone? Are Holy Grail and Life of Brian connected? Because they're both.
But he's picking Holy Grail.
Oh yeah, but you said it has to be a standalone film, not a series of films.
No, it just means you have to
it's-
pick one movie from the series.
Oh, okay.
So if you had picked,
Don't try to get me on a
if
technicality.
you
now.
tried to pick Star Trek Into
checking.
Darkness, we'd count it, but you're not counting all of Star Trek. You picked Star Trek Into Darkness, but you'd be an idiot to pick that one.
Yeah, you'd lose instantly if you picked
Yeah.
that.
Like
First Contact,
gotcha.
maybe?
So no technicality, Hal.
Makes sense. South Park is the best. South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut. It accomplishes having a funny title.
We all love that
yeah.
movie. You don't have to sell me on the movie. Why is it better than these two?
I hate to say it, but it's funnier than the comedy that you picked.
Wow. Shots fired for sure.
It's funnier and it's more relevant to the times.
if you're if you're trying to talk relevancy,
Relevance is not part of the
right. Relevance is not necessarily part of it. Also, if you're like going off of the same line of logic of like shockwaves before, we're going to say like Monty Python undeniably reshaped the comedy landscape. Matt and Trey would not have a foothold were it not for the absurdist and high-level groundbreaking stuff that the Pythons were bringing. It simply wouldn't be happening. They would not be getting a theatrical release of their animated series were it not for the Pythons.
Well, if you want to
if
play
I can-
that card, there wouldn't be Python without Mel Brooks, and there wouldn't be Mel Brooks without the Marx
But you
Brothers.
didn't pick any Mel Brooks related films. So going off there, on your same line of logic, if we're going to be going on the I haven't heard of that, so it must not be that good. I've not heard of this Batman. I love Batman the Animated Series. There is no denying it as a fantastic show. But I have not heard of this film. And I'd assume that it would be deeper in the lexicon.
That's like minus several nerd points.
I know.
not
Well,
hearing
You
of
also
the movie.
didn't hear about it because they decided to make it theatrical late in production, and so it actually did terribly at the box office because they didn't have enough time to promote it or get it out there. It kind of just like dropped really quickly. So that might be why you hadn't heard about it.
But it was on video.
Yeah, it came out.
yeah, I mean,
It's on Amazon Prime.
I don't have an Amazon Prime account, so you know.
Make it one.
You should get one. It gives you overnight shipping.
Yeah.
Overnight shipping? Well, now that our sponsor is...
Here's the thing. Okay, both of your movies are spectacular. You were my number 2. Oh, I love South Park, Big Long Uncut. But the problem is, though it's great, it's just like the best version of like South Park, its own singular thing. Whereas Batman is like the best version of the animated series, but it also like surpasses Batman,
can
which
you
is
clarify? Yours isn't the best version of the show.
No, I'm saying like South Park. It's like the best. It's like the
Yeah.
best of the series, which is great.
I would
but
actually-
but South Park has only been touched by Matt and Trey. Batman has been touched by tons of creators for
poor Batman.
for
nicely,
generations.
Like the Duggars, right?
Hold on, people have been able to put their like spin on it, and this is one that came in, was the best of the TV show, and also was better than a lot of other people's interpretations of Batman. Holy Grail was awesome, but it's like so loosely. Both South Park and Batman actually like have firm ties with the TV show. It's just the same comedy troupe doing that. There's not like a crossover to the TV show.
Yeah, let me
It's-
piggyback what Davis is saying. It's Monty Python by name only. I mean, it's a tertiary loose connection to the TV show. This is taking what you love and satisfying you by giving you wow. It's
taking what you love, the Pythons, and giving them a feature, which they got, and it was great.
No,
but it doesn't tie
it's-
into the
it's
show.
not related. It's barely related to the show. It's just like,
It's
oh,
related-
that's the truth.
They're the stars of the show.
It's related in far as sensibility, comedy stylings, all of the things that you know and love are going, oh, what if John Cleese, like that whole group were doing it? So
Right. You're not
arguing
disqualified, but
you're
I'm going to
argu-
help because the question is, what is the best movie made from a TV show?
Yeah.
It falls in there. Clearly theirs is more
And-
specifically
and
based
I,
on a TV
and
show.
I
So
want to say,
whether
what,
that's right or wrong.
what are you going to remember? The Phantasm and Mark Hamill's Joker, great, and there's a good Batman. But think about South Park, all those songs. Blame Canada. What would Brian Boitano do? Uncle Effer, like we just said. And then the Saddam Hussein in Hell. Oh, man. That
So
was
why-
I'd argue
so
though,
amazing.
Go ahead.
For that very reason, I'd like to point out, like, the movie was funny at the time, certainly. But there is a topical decay that happens to humor when you are making
Oh, you're
topical
crazy. That
humor.
movie's still funny. I don't mean to
It's
cut
still
off.
funny.
That movie's way still funny.
It's still funny, but I ask you now, in 15 years, if you show that movie to kids who aren't aware of some of at least the Saddam angle,
I could
they
make
don't
the
know
same
who
argument
Saddam
with you
is.
with Monty Python. It's British humor, but it's
Yeah.
not about. But I
Batman
get it.
timeless.
We can't argue whether South Park. I'm not going to let a fight happen.
I'd-
Is the South
I'd
Park
also-
movie funny? It's funny.
It's funny.
Davis, why was your movie? He's made it clear why his was bigger, longer, uncut. Why was your movie better than the show?
I think they had a better storyline. It was longer. You had time to like dive into more like character development. It created like a really cool new villain while utilizing old like villains very well. The music was even grander than it was.
I mean, I'll put my music up against your music.
All right. I think I have a call. I'm gonna say this is tough. I said it. I've been trying not to say this is tough, and I just said this is tough. But I think I gotta give the edge to Hal, just because I think they did sort of. I think yes, it's based on a TV show, but these two are way more based on the TV show, and then excelled by taking the TV show and making a movie version, which I think you both sold. But your final argument just didn't sell me enough. Hal's did more. Hal got the point. There we go. Dan, anything you'd like to add?
Not to make Michael feel worse,
Don't even say it.
but
Don't
Parker
even
and
say it.
Stone have said that Monty Python was an enormous influence on South Park.
Oh, I believe it, but there's a lot of influences.
I've
This isn't
seen them
influence
say-
fights. It's a great movie, but just the edge to Hal. Round 5.
I can live with that.
I can't.
Plus, it doesn't help when he keeps giving you points. Like, shut up, Davis.
You even said it was a great movie. Everyone knows it's a good movie.
Davis, you
Except
got,
for
you got
Michael,
great
apparently.
taste,
It's not
brother.
funny
Great
anymore.
taste.
I just don't. Topical humor when it hurts me a little bit because you're like,
I don't
oh,
think
I'll
it's all
watch
topical.
Canada,
It's not
the
terribly
devil.
topical.
These are definitely
But,
really
like,
topical issues.
No,
a
I'm
funny
saying like
movie.
Saddam immediately loses it and like.
Yeah, but he's just a
I don't
weird,
know, but like,
crazy
if I saw
guy.
something with like Hitler in it or something,
Right,
you know,
but
I'd
Hitler-
still get it. I'd still get it.
Hitler had.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Reeling it in. Round 5. Hal's friend, Shia LaBeouf,
Yes.
released a weird green screen inspirational video, which if you haven't watched, it's amazing. Please do it. Go watch it. It's sort of to sum it up. Just do it. James Rendell, Jay Rendell at Twitter, inspired this one. What is the best inspirational speech of all time? So, taking a key from Shia's fantastic speech and James's question on Twitter, we're going to lead with you, Michael, and tell us the best inspirational speech. And now I also want both of you to sell me on it. You got to give me a portion.
Yeah.
And make sure we feel confident.
So I'm already, really, really enjoying being at 0 right now. So hoping this can bring me home. But
I know what it's like.
Well, I appreciate that, Hal. Mine's from Cinema Paradiso, which is an unlikely choice, perhaps. It's an Italian film, and it surrounds, just to give you kind of a lead up to it. We're brought into this world of Salvatore, who has returned to his family home, and he starts experiencing. He's a successful film director at this point, and he has flashbacks to when he was a child, and he befriends this older man, Alfredo, who is who works at this cinema, and he becomes the projectionist for it. Initially, they don't get along. They soon come. Basically, Alfredo starts to become his mentor of sorts, and this only becomes more of a like closely knit relationship when Alfredo is blinded in like the silver nitrate film causes a fire. He rescues Salvatore, but winds up becoming blinded in the process.
Like Inglourious Bastards.
Yes, but much before.
But the silver nitrate causing.
Yes, silver nitrate. That's like one of the tropes. So Alfredo, Salvatore is scared about kind of going out into the world. He feels like very much like he needs to take care of Alfredo. And there's just this point in the movie near the end where this kind of speech comes in, and it's tough love, but it's like so effective. Where he just says, "Get out of here, go back to Rome. You're young and the world is yours. I'm old. I don't want to hear you talk anymore. I want to hear others talk about you. Don't come back. Don't think about us. Don't look back. Don't write. Don't give in to nostalgia. Forget all about us. If you do and you do come back, don't come and see me. I won't let you in my house. Understand?" It's like this very like get out there and live your life and succeed. It's so powerful. And the way it's delivered, I mean, I can't fully grasp the like
Or speak Italian, right?
or speak Italian. No, I can't. But it really hit me when of just like go live your dreams and don't be held back is like, you know, a pretty impactful thing. And for it to be delivered in such kind of like a tough love way, it really, and from such a feeble character as well, is like, damn, just damn.
Davis, what's your inspirational speech?
Mine is the president's speech at the end of Independence Day.
Of course, it's got to be on the
President
list.
Bill Pullman, as he's
President Bill
as everyone is prepping for the big assault aerial battle, he's kind of walking through, taking the temperature of the troops, and he gets up, grabs one of these, and gives.
Let's hear some.
Do you want me to hear all of it, or just
Just give me a good
Well,
chunk.
because he starts off super casual. He kind of just says like that. Look, I'm one of you. I'm gonna be super low key, kind of like
One of the people.
lure you in, and then he builds. I'll just read the most epic part, and the lead in. And he said, "And should we win this day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, very inclusive, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today we celebrate our Independence Day." Everyone loses their shit. Oh my God. This like technologically way inferior human force then goes and takes it to the aliens and wins the day.
Wow, I want to go fight some aliens.
My nipples are perking up just like
Dan and I
reading
both
it.
did it, but I gave you the salute,
Thank
sir.
you.
The best extra ever salute.
This is like every inspirational speech written after this.
Parodies is like,
basically
I
just
can't
been-
believe I'm fighting cinema parodies over President Bill Pullman fighting
Ha-
aliens.
no, but this is like
I mean, I picked it and was like, but Independence Day is going to be in there. So, like, why even try to write it as my...
Hal, what's your pick?
The best inspirational speech of all time is a speech to my fellow Scotsman from William Wallace and Braveheart. Did I pull away from the mic enough not to blow it out?
Trying to warn you.
Okay. You know,
I knew these both were going to be here. So I was like, let's do something no one would expect.
William-
Let's just be a
what's it
Phil
like,
Nassif.
guys?
What's it like always being alone?
Guys.
This is a little
low
too
blow,
real.
Low blow.
Fine, like,
All right.
swipe right when you see me, girls.
Okay, check him out on Tinder. Meanwhile,
That's his quote.
William Wallace, he's got several jobs to do with this speech. He has to prove to them that he is William Wallace because they're like, you're not William Wallace. Then he has to persuade them to stay and fight, and he has to get them enthused and ready to take on the British. They weren't even going to fight. In Independence Day, they're already they're like, all right, they're like, yeah, we're gonna do this. They were all about to leave. He had to get them to stay, and it's the speech is great because not only is it stirring and inspirational as much as anything, it's also funny. He starts off, he wins them over. He wins over these Scotsmen. He says, I am William Wallace. And someone says, William Wallace is 7 feet tall. He says, yes, I've heard. He kills men by the hundreds. And if he were here, he'd consume the English with fireballs from his eyes and bolts of lightning from his arse. And the crowd loves it, and they realize this is the man. And I'm going to read the most stirring part of this speech. And you know what I'm going to end with. You know what this speech is about. You know that it's about what's dear to us, our freedom. Yes?
What's it about, Hal?
Yes, fight and you may die. Run and you will live. At least a while. And dying in your bed many years from now. Would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance to come back here as young men and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they will never take our freedom?
He was on an episode of Community, guys.
Wow.
That's how you read a quote.
That was good, Hal. I want to see you in a drama role. Have you done a good drama?
I was in a movie that you can see on Netflix called The Lost Medallion, where I played a villain chasing children through the jungles of
I
Thailand.
want to see you in a dramatic role.
Thank
I know
you.
you haven't. You've done amazing comedy roles, but
Thank
I want
you.
to see a good dramatic
I
role.
appreciate that. I mean, I watched all these speeches. It really stirs me, this
It's
one.
stirring.
The Independence Day, it's great. I love Bill Pullman, but it's a little bit one note. It's a little bit
Ooh,
one
what do you think of
note.
that, Davis? One note?
I think that it's one note in.
Why is President Bill Pullman more effective than William Wallace?
Because I mean that's a nice little stand-up bit he does at the beginning about the arse and stuff. But here, it's not a time for humor. It's like this is I don't know if they're fighting for the survival of the not just Scotland, the entire human race.
Stakes are pretty high.
Yeah, about as high as you can get. And so he's like, look, he kind of like it's almost he takes a knee without taking a knee, gives him like the little pep rally, like, no, come on. Let's go. Get it up, builds, explodes. Which that largely does too. I just think that this is more inclusive and the stakes are bigger and God damn it if it doesn't just jazz me every damn time.
But don't you just want a personal, person-to-person
yours is
speech
like yours
about
is a
living
dramatic
your
speech,
life?
but yours is not inspirational.
Cinema
Yours is-
Paradiso, more
yours
like
is-
cinema. I don't think so.
Yours is the Harry and the Hendersons like, don't come back.
I wouldn't-
Can't you see we don't want you? Get out.
I would not
You big galoot.
comparing
I was not
Cinema
inspired. I was not
Paradiso to
inspired.
Harry and the Hendersons.
Right.
I was not inspired by that at all. I was like,
You know what? It did
what is
inspire me.
it?
I want to have pizza or lasagna for lunch.
Davis, I'm just calling it. You get the point. I think it is the fire, but that Harry and Henderson's thing totally knocked you down. I don't want to waste time. That was genius.
That's fine, as
And it's
long
a
as it's
great
not going to
speech.
Hal.
Davis gets the
Freedom.
point.
All right.
Now that I got the point, that was another like that.
But he's right.
I
mean,
had to
the
weigh the
stakes are
stakes.
high. That was a good point. You were almost at it, but I mean, the whole world is at stake in this one.
What's
he
more-
he
what-
gets them to salute him hard.
What's more precious than
Dan?
our
Anything you wanted to add
freedom?
there?
Just that the phenomenon that Davis referred to, I believe, is also referred to as white fanging, which is like, go, get out of here, just go. It's probably the highest class version of that trope, though.
Yeah.
to
No,
you're
Michael's
right. Yeah,
credit.
sorry.
No,
And
no,
sure,
no
it's-
disrespect to your version.
That's fine.
Uh-oh.
Remember, swipe right.
Round
Can
6.
you put that quote though in your?
So, this week's round doesn't really tie into the Honest Trailer, because maybe the tie-in got lost somewhere in the world.
Lost
Subtle.
in the world.
Maybe?
Maybe.
Oh, but we always tease. So, this question is just for fun, and it comes from Jake Alexander. And Jake Xander on Twitter asked us, what is the best first film from any director? So, first film, director we all know and love. What's that first film from a director we know and love that is the best? And we're going to start with you, Davis.
Oh my god! I just lost this point. I forgot the name of my director. director. Can I say the movie though?
Sure, maybe it'll come to you, but don't admit it. Maybe it'll come
Sorry,
to you.
District 9. Oh, I totally
Oh,
just
no.
brain farted.
Don't ask me to say it.
Oh my god. Well, this is terrible. But we'll just call him Director X.
Mate,
Should I try, Dan?
give it a shot, Andy.
Neil Blomkamp?
Blomkamp. Jeez,
Blomkamp.
Oh my
Camp.
god.
Damn it, I
Yeah,
was
Blomkamp.
Camp.
I'm sorry.
Blomkamp.
That is a really bad start
Blomkamp?
out the gate.
Blomkamp.
It's fine.
Neil Blomkamp.
Got it.
You'll forgive me.
It's
Hal,
not
Hal's
fine.
not gonna let it go. No, but this movie came out of like the smoldering wreckage of the Halo movie they were trying to get off the ground. And they tried. They had a lot of people attached to it, script rewrites and things. It never happened. But Neil Blomkamp instead went and for I think like $30 million, like a pretty modest budget for a movie of this size, made this like amazing science fiction movie that felt really fresh, and in like a location like South Africa, which I think a lot of us aren't familiar with. So it felt kind of different, but also still terrestrial. I don't know. It was a good story with I guess two unlikely protagonists, and really just was like, oh wow, this is awesome. I was not expecting this at all. It surprised me. I can't wait to see what comes next. I mean, now I know what happens next.
Elysium
And
happens next.
and Chappie.
And Chappie.
But at the time, you were like, this guy,
Yeah.
anything he wants to do, he's gonna do it well.
The other ones
But
don't
as
matter.
you-
We're talking about District 9, and I won't
You're right.
penalize you for
You're
not
right.
knowing the director. I mean, it's not helping, but we're gonna keep
I-
it going. Hal, what's your pick?
But yeah, as he said, the bloom is off the rose with Blomkamp.
Blomkamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neil Blomkamp. I'm
My-
a big fan.
Uh,
I
my,
wrote it down so I could say it right.
my pick is Reservoir Dogs. Great game-changing film, and what a calling card to say, hello world, I am here. Quentin Tarantino established his unique style, his unique take on violence. Had we seen anyone add humor to violence and have that juxtaposition of joy, a joy with his bloodshed? And it's like, wow. And not only had it was just such a precursor of things to come. He has paid that off in spades. Quentin Tarantino planted his flag with his unique style, one of the best gritty gangster movies you're ever going to want to see. And so creatively told. Just going back and forth, his style, which he took to the next level in Pulp Fiction and subsequent films, just going back and forth and seeing how we got to this moment in time in that warehouse, bleeding on the ground. Michael Madsen, that scene with the ear. Wow, one of the most brutal, beautiful, bloody,
Stuck in
fun.
the middle with you.
I mean, wow.
All
What a
right, we
unique
love
take
it.
on violence.
Michael, let's get your pick, and then we can hear more.
I'm just going to play the asshole and play the trump card. Citizen Kane. There we go.
Yeah.
28 years old. Orson Welles. RKO Pictures redefining how we see movies, both narratively, cinematically, with Greg Toland on the helm for that. The sound mix is absolutely amazing. It's just everything about this film, especially when you're like, oh, this is the first film you've directed. It's hailed as one of the greatest works of cinema ever by critics around the globe. And it was his first film. He'd already shaken things up in radio, was clearly...
what was the budget comparatively to things today? Can you look that up for me on Citizen Kane?
On Citizen Kane?
Yeah.
I will try to find that.
I wonder if
A
that's...
nickel.
I mean, it was a
But
magnificent...
was it a Titanic in its day, or was it a, I'm just curious.
That I don't know, but I know he did have RKO's,
it
support.
actually got like buried because it was making fun of the
William Randolph
William
Hearst.
Randolph
and I
Hearst,
think he
right.
owned he owned like the new
At
the
the
media
time,
and stuff.
at the time, it was bogged down, and like we even see that when How Green Was My Valley took it at the Oscars. But there's also a lot of like wartime politics going on
Totally,
there.
yep.
In addition to it, but there is no denying how effective it was in redefining the cinematic landscape.
An artistic achievement, but if these three movies are on TV, which one are you going to watch? It's going to be Reservoir Dogs because it is the best movie. It's the most fun. It's not just the
Michael,
best
is that
movie.
what you'd watch?
No, I'd watch Citizen Kane. I've watched it on television, and I every
Davis,
time.
what would you watch?
Oh, I would watch District 9. Here's the thing. I already know I lost, not just because I forgot the name of the director, but because both those films are just like far superior. And that Reservoir Dogs is amazing, but I'm just gonna because number 2 for me was Citizen Kane. That movie is just like, it truly lives up to maybe one of the best movies of all time.
The fact that you can watch it like so far into the future, because you'll watch like a handful of films made in the 30s, made in the 40s, even some made in the 60s and 70s, they do not hold up. Citizen Kane holds up, and that is what is so astonishing. It holds up as far as narrative concerned. Its performances are excellent. The characters, the deconstruction of a single man, it's spellbinding. It's wonderful. You cannot get better than it.
You know, I wouldn't be remiss if I were to call Orson Welles a one-hit wonder.
Touch of Evil is fantastic. Also, F is for Fake are equally amazing.
But again, we're not talking about Best
He
Director.
directed Touch of Evil?
I believe so, yeah.
But we're also, it doesn't matter. We're not talking
Can you
about the
verify
best
that,
director. Best director. It's the best movie a first-time director has made.
Okay,
So keep it on that.
So we can't
It doesn't
talk
matter
about
what
promise
Tarantino has
that
made. Let's talk about why that film was the best.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that these 3 films get your hopes up for more. Which one? I'm like, oh boy, I don't want to be let down. Okay, I don't want to be let down by the rest of that director's body of work. And Reservoir Dogs, it was such a great combination of character actors, old and new. The performances.
Why not? I don't listen to the performances.
Yeah.
I know why not Citizen Kane? Because there's performances in that one too. So why is Reservoir Dogs better than Citizen Kane?
Citizen Kane.
It's a trump card. I
I'm
know
sorry.
I played a trump card.
I just
trying
never
to get
thought
him-
I'd hear that question in my
Yeah,
life.
exactly.
I love it.
I mean, I'm giving you a shot. This is hard. Michael's standing tall right now, but
Yeah, no.
knock it down.
Citizen Kane is a great artistic exercise. It's a wonderful film exercise, but just
I'd say
as the more
masterpiece as opposed to exercise, but
But as far as a more enjoyable movie, as far as a better film to just sit back and watch, it's Reservoir Dogs. On a Sunday afternoon, I want to put on Reservoir Dogs. In the middle of the night, damn, Reservoir Dogs is on. I guess I'm staying up till 2 in the morning.
Noted. And I'm not saying that's a wrong point, but give me something against why Reservoir Dogs isn't. I mean, I get it. Iconic, you said that, but specifically.
I mean, you wouldn't have just if we're going back to basics, and Quentin Tarantino has defined himself on so many aspects of old cinema, and that's where it begins with Citizen Kane. You see so many tropes that he's picked are if we go to Touch of Evil with that long crane shot and you'd jump ahead to Kill Bill or stuff like that, those sensibilities. I know we're not covering full lexicon.
I would say
but,
Tarantino is more influenced by Stanley Kubrick and films like The Killing and film noir.
Right, absolutely, but who are
the
they
1950s.
Let's not talk iconic, because if we're doing that, Citizen Kane wins easily. I
so,
get it. But tell me the specific movie.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Another reason why.
I don't need. I
Reservoir
want it
Dogs.
from you. I get it. I get why.
But we haven't mentioned the soundtrack and how influential he was there.
It was
as
good,
well.
but can you give me something as to why Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs doesn't hold up to Citizen Kane? Not about its iconic.
Because it's not just about enjoyment, and because there is plenty of enjoyment in Citizen Kane, but there's also a lot, there's a wide facet of emotion that's attached to Citizen Kane, whereas Reservoir Dogs plays the single note of oh, this is a heist that's gone bad, and now we're dealing with the consequences of this, and shit's just gonna go down.
That's wrong, because the film wouldn't have resonated if it was that simple. The characters are complex. You have that cop.
Right, characters are complex. I totally understand that characters are complex, but you're not seeing a wide array of Citizen Kane stands out to me because it's also presenting one man in the various aspects of his life. In getting to explore the aspect of a man rather than the microcosm of this single event of these people, we're getting so much more out
All
of
right, that's what I needed to hear. I just didn't want it to be about mine's more famous and more iconic. Barrety proved it. Citizen Kane wins.
I got a point. That's all I needed.
You know what? It made me sick to try to argue against Citizen
Davis took
Kane because
himself
it's a
out
great
on his
damn
own accord.
movie.
I felt like an asshole saying
I went
it,
with the one
but
that I was
Yeah.
like,
No.
Citizen Kane's my number 2, and I'm like, I was really
It's a great
surprised by
movie.
this.
It's a hard one to beat.
Citizen
my
Kane
number
is a
2 would have been
masterpiece.
Shaun of the Dead.
So we have 2 points
But
for
we like
Davis
District 9.
and 3 points for
Yeah,
Hal.
District 9's great.
And
I
Michael,
agree.
you did get on the board. Congratulations. But that means Hal and Davis are moving into the speed round.
Oh,
Dan,
God.
is
I'm
that
gonna get
correct?
That is correct. And in answer to your question, adjusted for inflation, Citizen Kane had a budget of about $13.5 million.
Adjusted.
Adjusted.
Wow.
Dan, who directed Touch of Evil?
So it was an
Orson
indie
Welles.
to our standards.
Yeah, it was.
That's a
It
great
was
movie,
low,
too.
yeah, it was,
So
it was
good.
basically
And
an
he's
indie
great
movie.
That's a great movie.
A bit more
yeah.
impressive then. All right. Speed round. Hal, Davis, you're going to see what happens here. But before we get to the speed round, I'd like to once again thank our sponsors at Loot Crate. You can sign up at lootcrate.com/moviefights and use the code MovieFights to save 10% on a new subscription. If you order by June 19th, you'll get June's Cyber Crate, which includes exclusive items from Terminator Genesis, Battlestar Galactica, Borderlands, and more. So get it on it, people. It also include an exclusive T-shirt that you won't find anywhere else, like Dan's from last year or last month,
yes.
with this Power Ranger shirt. So please, you won't find this stuff anywhere else. Go support Loot Crate and support our show because they're supporting us and we're all supporting each other. Again, that's lootcrate.com/moviefights and code MovieFights. Thank you, Loot Crate. All right. Now, we all know how the speed run works. We've tested this, rehearsed it, so we don't go through all the drama on to you guys.
So just stick to the script, guys.
Now, the way, just for you at home, they have 15 seconds each, and then because the second person has a little bit of an advantage by being able to reply to what the first person said, they will have 5 seconds to rebut something that was said by the first person. Everyone understand that? Okay? Now, again, if you both say the same answer at the same time, whoever said it first, we're going to try our best to hear it and stop telling me about buzzers. We're not using buzzers because I don't want it just to be whoever buzzed in first, because then they can sit on it and say, and then it's just about whoever clicks a buzzer first. You got to think about it. You got to say it, and it might be tough, and then we'll move on to another question if we can't tell. Everyone understand how this is going to work?
Yes, sir.
Great. Let's do this. Let's cue the speed round music.
Ooh.
Ooh, this is a fun one. It wasn't me who picked this one, but I think it's fun. I'm not giving you any choices, so anyone in the world, who is Hollywood's best Andy?
Andy Serkis.
5 seconds.
Andy Signore.
Oh, I'm not even letting that be a fight. Davis gets it. Davis gets the point. I'm not going to sit here and judge a fight as to why I'm better than Andy Serkis. I think that's Hal didn't get it in time. All right, Davis. Wow.
Andy Serkis is Andy
That
Serkis
evens
is
you out. Now it's a
amazing.
tie game.
Yeah.
It is a tie game. Andy Garcia, Andy McDowell.
Andy McDowell.
But Andy Serkis, probably.
And Andy Serkis is the choice.
There's not that many, actually.
Yeah.
To be fair.
That's why it's a fun question.
Yeah.
Could you be,
but there were
could it be
3.
Andrews? Not that that really makes it.
Andy Griffith. I should have gone
Andy
Andy
Griffith. All right. So now we're tied, Hal.
Okay.
You lost your lead.
Yep.
Both of these movies are playing on cable. Which one do we watch? 2 selections here. Angels in the Outfield or Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the
Angels
Year.
in the Outfield.
Okay, you both selected different ones, and you said it first, so you get to go first.
Rookie of the Year, if you're going to just watch something on cable, it's like a classic sports movie that holds up in its like sports elements as well as its dramatic elements. Whereas I think that the other one is just like, I don't think it's a great baseball movie.
Okay, I think I got what you said there. Hal, why Angels in the Outfield? Start the clock.
Angels in the Outfield is magical. You have Danny Glover. Wow. You have a great actor driving this movie. And it's that much more magical, and it takes you on this journey compared to Rookie of the Year. Angels in...
Okay, you get a 5-second rebuttal on what he said.
The journey of that is like the same journey, but one is based in science and one is based in angels.
magical.
Just the fall away on Angel.
Just to be fair, I'm going to bring in my other fellows here just to make sure I'm making the right call, because I don't feel... I mean, I do. But Michael, based on the arguments, who would you have picked?
That's
Real quick, give me a name.
I think it's
Davis. Dan, who would you have picked?
Davis.
That's what I would have picked as well, so I'm just verifying. Davis,
Got it.
on the board again.
Shit.
if you had gone into the angel aspect, I would have been more into it, but we never.
Yeah, it was just I heard a lot of magical. All right,
I just wanted to hear about the angel.
best, not giving you choices this time, anybody in the world.
I like multiple choice.
Best movie starring Robin Williams.
Aladdin.
Good Will Hunting.
Aladdin versus Good Will Hunting. Wow. Aladdin I heard first, so you're going first. Why is Aladdin the best? Start the clock.
I mean, it's the best because they're both great movies, but this is Aladdin versus the other one. Like, really can play to any child or adult. There's just like themes in there about like friendship and belonging, things that will hit every single possible person. Whereas Good Will Hunting is great, but it's like a very specific.
Okay. Hal, start the clock. Why is Good Will Hunting... Sorry, don't start the clock. Why is Good Will Hunting better than Aladdin? Start the clock.
Good Will Hunting is a better film. It's a more inspirational story. You have Matt Damon and Ben Affleck came together to write this film, and it's the story of this janitor who has this secret power, and Williams inspires him.
Yeah, okay. 5-second rebuttal.
It's great that those two wrote it together, but I don't think that makes it a better movie. I think Aladdin is just like a cheerier.
I'm going to activate the panel again based on the arguments.
What was the category exactly? Give it to me again.
Best film or best movie starring Robin Williams. And I would say his role is equal in both, so don't go specific on the word starring there. Dan, we'll start with you. I have a pick, but I want to make sure I'm not just being subjective because those are both strong.
The Universal angle won me over, so I go with Davis.
Yeah, I do too. Universal.
That's where I was leading. We're all on the same page. Hal, it's another point for Davis. So what is that word? Is it over?
Hal has to win both of these points to force a tiebreaker.
Okay.
All right, Hal?
Yeah.
Here we go. Again, not telling you selections. You have to pick from the air. Worst movie starring Tom Cruise. Worst movie starring.
Legend.
Jack Reacher.
Okay. All right, I heard Legend first, so you get to go first. Go ahead, time.
Legend is this terrible fantasy movie from I think the 80s that nobody remembers. I watched it. It is god awful. There are nothing redeeming about it. Not even awesome action sequences or like modern day hot Tom Cruise to salvage it. No more time needed.
Okay, he gives up his time. Hal, you have 15 seconds. You can rebut. You can begin. You have 15 seconds. Are you ready? Start the clock.
Legend is actually fun. You have that giant devil creature. That's amazing. Jack Reacher is a retread. It was a 90s action film made in the 2000s. It really is a bad movie. Tonally, it doesn't know what it wants to be.
You get a 5-second rebuttal based on what he said.
Okay, Jack Reacher is actually a fun movie, and it's getting a sequel, which should speak something to its quality versus Legend, which didn't.
Oh, only to be fair, and since it's a game-winning point, I'm going to activate us again. I have opinion, and I'm going to say it first since I think that's fair because you both went. I'm going to give it to Hal. I think I'm not going to say why. That's why. Dan.
The sequel thing got me.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Davis.
Yeah. I'm in the same camp.
I was with you, Hal. They overruled me. I don't think that's relevant because it's about the worst movie.
Legend is
Legend is
legitimately
pretty
a
fun,
travesty.
but you guys picked it. Hal, you're out. Davis wins the point.
All right.
Good game, though, Hal.
That was crazy.
Good game.
I'm so glad that I watched that on accident, that terrible movie Legend.
I don't like to do on the game-winning points. I do like to rally and make sure it's universal choice. They went with you. I don't disagree, but I would have given the edge to you, Hal. Still, both very strong fighters. Very good fight. That was a very intense one. Thank you guys for doing that. Wow, Davis, man, you're on the board.
Yeah, thank you.
You did not think that. I know you.
So what I like to do is when I win something for the first time, I never do it again so that I'm always undefeated.
Smart.
The second week in a row, somebody already said that.
Best winning record ever.
All right, we're out of time. What did you guys think on the show? What did you think? The winner and the fighters here. Who should we bring back? Tell us in the comments below. What should we be battling? And more importantly, always tell us which fights we need to see on Twitter and on YouTube. iTunes, again, subscribe to our RSS feed there, please. We have a new one and new shirt. Don't forget, you can get the Movie Fight shirt. It's on our District Line store, link below. And I want to thank our panelists so much for coming. Hal Rudnick at Hal Rudnick. Man, it was close.
Yeah, I had fun. At Hal Rudnick on Twitter. Hit me up, and thanks for watching.
Michael Barrity at Belated Media.
Yep, at Belated Media on Twitter and on Tinder, swipe right.
And episode 3 is coming soon.
Coming soon.
All right,
Soon
I'll
being
take it.
relative.
They would yell at me
Whatever
if I
you
didn't
don't
ask.
sleep. Just keep
And then
working on that.
Davis at Team Davis on Twitter.
Or Warp Zone tweets for the Warp Zone.
But your personal's at Team Davis. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you get both. I gave you both. And at Warp Zone tweets. Check out the Warp Zone on YouTube. Very funny stuff. What do you got coming up? Is there anything you can tell us?
I can hint that we are doing a Mad Max.
Ooh, guys, if you haven't watched the epic rap battles
With
parody
drones.
of Hodor versus Groot, Will you please go look it up right now? I've just told you to. It's really, really funny. You guys did a great job on that. It's Hodor versus Groot doing a rap battle, and they do exactly what you'd think they'd do.
And you actually had a lot of
It was very funny.
good feedback.
Very funny.
Making that
oh,
what it
you
was.
guys, all you, and that was very funny. Please check it out and support the Warp Zone. Go subscribe to them. Dan Murrell on the Dan Cam. Wow, that's intense.
That was an intense fight. Yeah. At Murrell Dan on Twitter. And also my buddy has a movie that's just got up on iTunes called Amigo Undead. It's really funny. It's got Randall Park from The Interview and Steve Agee from Sarah Silverman Program in it. And you can get it now on iTunes. I worked on it. So.
What's it called again?
It's called Amigo Undead. It's a super low budget indie horror movie. Really fun, really funny. Check it out.
Dan, will you tweet about it so people can go find it easily on your Twitter? There
At
we go.
Murrell Dan.
At
I'll
Murrell Dan.
tweet out a link to it on my Twitter.
Fantastic. And please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Andy Signore and tell me how we did and what's going on and what you want to see. We're so grateful for your support. Thank you for watching. We will see you next weekend. Have a wonderful Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version.